said, if I engrave a knife or a name in there, he says, I'm marring the beauty of the blade. I have got this knife. I know nothing about it except it was given to me by a friend, Ben, in London. You can see the influence of Saji in these Kurosaki knives. I have them because I like knives. The end. All right, this is part 2, maybe part 3 or part 4 of my knife collection. My name's Kevin, I'm the founder at Knifewear, and you rarely see me on videos because the other people that are on videos are way better looking, way better looking. Here's a knife I used in kitchens a long time. We sold a few of them. I don't know whatever happened to this company, Hiramoto. It's Aogami Super Blade, stainless steel on the outside, Western handle. Great knife for chefs. If anybody knows what happened to this company, let me know. Because we used to sell them and then they dried up one day and that was that. And I really would love it. I'd love to get more of those. Here is the 4th knife I made with Takeda-san. 4 out of the 6. And getting better. I hammered this one a bit thinner. It's getting a bit better. I like how I ground it as well. Again, not up to standards of the other stuff in this box. Next knife. Oh, this is the first kotetsu. This is the first kotetsu, and you can see it's Aogami Super with stainless and has the K tip. This was a prototype when Shiba said, hey, look, this is something I'm working on. What do you think? And you'll look here, the texture is different. He sandblasted it. He wanted to make it feel like an Apple laptop. That was his inspiration, was a Apple laptop for the texture. What is in this box? It's pink. Pink's always a good color. Oh, it's really rusty too. This is the first hand-hammered knife I ever bought. So this is a knife from Murata-san. Buho is what the blade says. That's his artist name. He's not making knives anymore. Or if he is, he's making just a few Japanese handle ones. That knife has seen a lot of action. One of my 210 millimeter Fujiwara Denkas. I say one of my 210 millimeters because I have 3. I've got one with this handle, which is rosewood. I've got one with a cherrywood handle, and I've got one with a red handle. And this, ta-da, is from Suisin. Again, it's a knife they don't make anymore, and it's a knife I loved, Naoto loved, and we could never sell them because we were the only ones that loved them. Again, I really like this knife. This is a 270? Yeah, it's 270 because in Sakai, they don't measure from the blade, they measure from the machi. So that's the little hole, where the handle starts. So they measure from there. So they sell slightly smaller knives for the slightly bigger price. Oh, here's another prototype. This was the first Masakagi Hikari. Not the first because it's rounded here, but you can see they haven't rounded it with the recurve. It's just rounded flat. So this is a prototype of this and a prototype of a Pakawood and Pakawood handle that Yamakin made and I stole from Kurosaki's dashboard on his truck. He had a bunch of them. I said, what are these? He goes, oh, it's a new handle from Yamakin. I said, oh, I need one. He was like, oh, I'm kind of using one. I said, can I have one anyway? And he said yes, but I don't think he meant it. And then I put it in my pocket. The handle was supposed to be indestructible, so I put it through the dishwasher 7 times in a row. And all that happened was that the handle got a bit paler, but then I oiled it up and it looks great again. This is fun. That's a spearhead made from some brown obsidian by my buddy Jay. Jay and I ride bikes together a lot, and he's an archaeologist who has had a long career. He doesn't do so much now, but he used to make a ton of stone tools, and he would make replicas of stone tools that were in museums. And he'd make replicas like notch for notch, same streak of color through, like identical replicas, so that they could repatriate the points back to the people, and then have a replica in the museum. And one day he was there's a museum up in Whitehorse called the Beringia Museum. It's all about the Bering Strait and the migration of humans from Europe into Canada. And Jay made the atlatls, which is like a spear that you've got like a long stick, but you can throw it really hard, and a bunch of arrowheads for them, and arrows. And he was up there a few years, like 25 years later, took a tour of the museum, and he's like, hey, I made that. And the tour guide said, yes, they were made a long time ago. He goes, I know, because I made them. And they just kept saying, no, it was a really professional stone tool maker. And he's like, yeah, it was me. They never believed him, which I think's hilarious. Jay's like, well, I did make them, but they didn't want to believe me. I think these are 2 hunting knives that I made with Takeda. Yeah, so these are knives number 1 and 2 that I made with Takeda-san. You can see that beautiful spine on that one. Just like so crooked and smashed. I should probably haft these 2 one day, like put a handle on them. They were lying around, but it's fun. It's fun. I made knives with Takeda-san. This is a knife that Tojiro made these knives to celebrate a big anniversary, and I can't remember what it was now, how long, but they only made 100 of these, and they were for sale only in Japan. Somehow I got one. I don't know how that happened. Honyaki, Mugi. Anyway, it's a stainless steel knife. Just one of those knives. Like, I love knives like this. I love these knives that are stainless, that are durable, that I don't have to think about, and I kind of have a whole bunch of them. I think this is the other Kumamo knife from Mortaka. Isn't it cute? Little bear on there, little Kumamo. Oh, here, that is my Masakagi Shimo 240. You can see the curve here is getting a little bit better. Not where it is now, but this is when we're still working on it. And this blade is a lot thicker than the current Shimos. And if I had this knife when I was a chef, I might still be a chef. I love that knife. That is one knife that I will always have, that I will always want to keep forever and ever. Here's a couple of mushroom foraging knives, which is really good that they're here, because that means I found them. I'm gonna put them aside, because I want those. And I didn't know I had them in this box. Here's an old scimitar. This is a really old, I think it's a homemade knife. I think this is a leaf spring from a car suspension, and just 2 chunks of wood attached on that. That was an old butcher knife that I kind of bought a whole box old butcher knives once. And we cleaned them all up, polished them, shined them, sharpened them, sold them at a garage sale. It was great. But I kept this one because it was so weird. Again, remember those thin knives that I said we could never sell and now it's one I loved? That's the knife my wife uses. She likes it so much. You'll see another one here. So she gets a sharp one and uses it till it's dull, and then I swap them. And then we play that game again. I made the Damascus steel on this knife. Kato Jr., young Kato, made the knife for me. I made the steel on this with Andy, who's a blacksmith and welding instructor here in Calgary, and he's got a forge in his garage. So Andy and I made the Damascus steel for that, and then gave it to these guys, and they made some knives for us. This is a gift from Masashi, and it is a kiridashi, or like a little craft knife for cutting, well, anything you would use an X-Acto blade for, you can use this. It's a bit classier though. But Masashi didn't make this, it was a friend of his that made this. And it's, of course, I like that it's wrapped, it's presented in a box. This is the way knives, so if you have a sword, if you have a sword, the blade will come packaged like this. And you have to do this, you put your thumbs together and then push against your thumbs. Get it apart. So it's got that kind of sword feel about it. This is a knife I used in kitchens for a long time. It's called Blazin. This is back when Takamura-san and Ryu-san worked together, and they made these knives called Blazin. After they kind of split up and started doing separately, they both tried making this Blazin with slightly different names on it. And I don't really know what happened, but neither of them make it anymore. It's just SG2 powder steel, 240 Gyuto. I have to hold it this way because this way you can't see it. 240 millimeter size. Sold a bunch of these. Now they don't make them anymore. Too bad. Love that knife. And that knife has seen a lot of restaurant use and abuse. In here is something fun. So this sheath was made by Jeffrey, a Horse and Jasper. I told him I wanted very rock and roll, so we've got black with studs on the outside and then fur lining on the inside. Woo! This is something I bought a long time ago. because I thought it was about the coolest thing I'd ever seen. This is the first Honyaki blade I saw. So if you know about Honyaki steel or Honyaki blades, it's one piece of steel, but the way they heat treat it, it makes the edge really hard and then the spine is softer. So they heat treat, it's differential heat treat. So basically when they quench the knife, the edge cools faster, which makes the steel harder, and the spine cools a bit slower. And you'll see a little wavy line that separates the hard steel from the soft steel on the side of the blade. That's called the hamon. It's not really a hamon. A hamon's something you see in a sword. I guess actually this is a Honyaki. This would be a hamon, I guess. But it's a lacquer sheath, or lacquer saya, lacquer handle, and it says Hochomania on it, which is means kitchen knife nerd, which is I kind of got a lot of knives that are engraved with Hochomania on it. But this is something that I love. Honyaki forged Gyuto with lacquer saya. It's not a knife I use every day. Look at the blade, says Hochomania too. But when I do use it, it's awesome. And it looks like there's a chip there, but it's not. It's just the way the light's hitting it. I love this knife. And I know that we've got some Honyaki blades. I don't know if we have them in stock or if we're saving them for the garage sale, but I know we've got some Honyaki blades up our sleeves currently, made by Mazaki. See all the big snow, and that's where they do all the skiing and the snowboarding up in Hokkaido. And he wanted to be a craftsman of some sort, but he didn't know what. He liked working with his hands. So he took his old motorcycle, he put together an old motorcycle, got it running, sold everything, packed his bike full of some belongings, and started driving around Japan, stopping at different areas to learn how to do different crafts. We worked with a scissor maker for a while. He worked with somebody that was making single bevel knives. And then he ended up eventually in Sanjo, and the government was offering work incentives. They were offering incentives. I think they were paying people to learn to be blacksmiths. So he thought, I'll stick around here and learn to be a blacksmith, and really enjoys making kitchen knives. And if you go to his shop, you have to wade through all the motorcycle parts to get to the kitchen knife area. So basically you come in through the garage, and you would think you're in a motorcycle custom shop. He's got so many motorcycle parts everywhere. So we know what he likes. Motorcycles and Honyaki blades, which is really, oh, I've stolen that one. Here, you should have that one back. And this is this. Somebody gave me this blade. It's rusty, I feel bad. It was forged out of a leaf spring from a car in Vietnam, I think. And I put one of the hot rod handles on. I don't really know anything about this knife other than someone gave it to me once. This is a very rusty knife. I have to show you because Sky really wants you to see how rusty my knife is. I tried to put it away quickly because I'm ashamed. But thank you, Sky, for making me pull it out and live in my shame. I hope my Tinker Tank is in one of these boxes. Okay, that means I can show you this. This is something, Shibata-san from Tinker and Muskagi and Kotetsu Knives, him and I went fishing in Okinawa recently. Okinawa's like the south end of Japan. It's tropical there, it was crazy. It felt like I was in Hawaii. We went fishing and caught a bunch of little tunas, a little bigger tuna, some mahi-mahi, all kinds of crazy stuff. Super fun. And as you know, with Tinker Knives, Shiba has started Tinker Knives, and he wants them to feel like somebody made it in their backyard. like it was a real kind of side project. So he keeps the blades black, Kurochi, but he puts nice things and grinds them beautifully, gets them forged by Takeda-san mostly, and then polishes the spine and polishes the chow. So he just makes a really polished product, but this is how he packages it with an elastic around it. This is all packing tape and Japanese newspapers. And obviously a handle by Yamakin. But this is something nobody's seen yet, because this is something Shiba and I are working on. And this is a Sasquatch. So Shiba loves the idea of a Sasquatch because him and I spent some time on the West Coast and we talked about Sasquatch a lot. And I really like Sasquatch. I want them to be real. I don't think they are, but I want them to be real. And this knife, I had a drawing in one of my notebooks of something similar to this, And what I told Sheba, I said I wanted it to be thicker and feel not thin like a modern gyuto and not as fat as a yo deba. So a yo deba is a deba that's sharpened on both sides like a gyuto and is more of a gyuto shape, but it's fatter like a deba. It's used for fish butchery. So I wanted something that's kind of in between. And he said, is it the knife that Sasquatch uses? And I was like, yes, it is the knife Sasquatch uses. We want it to be taller at the heel and look kind of dangerous. So this is the knife that Sheba has come up with for Sasquatch. This is gonna be for sale here soon. This is the first one, and if you look here, it says the series, this is 1 of 1. It was made in January 2024. So there's exactly one Sasquatch from Tinker in existence, and here it is. So keep watching. I'm sure we'll figure out how we're going to figure out. We don't know, because the demand for all of these Tinker knives is so high that we get like 400 people that want to buy it, and we only get one. So we have to usually come up with a way for people to buy it, like there's like you go in a lottery, and then the winner of the lottery has the opportunity to buy the knife or something. I don't know how we're gonna do it. That's what we did with the last one. And I don't know, I kind of want to keep this one. But I did tell Sheba I was going to sell it. So I probably should sell it. So there you go, there's something that we've been working on. The Tinker and Knifewear collaboration called Sasquatch. What a great name. It's the knife Sasquatch would use. So we've made it through our first box of knives in Kevin's knife collection, and we've only got 3 more boxes, and one of them's really big, but the other 2 are small. So maybe call it 2.5 boxes to go. All right, let us know if you like this kind of comment. I think it'd be fun. Like, I think it's fun to show off Knifewear staff's kitchen knife collection. So let us know if you like this in the comments. And if you do, we'll keep making more stuff like this.